people that get the opportunity to play a collegiate sport is a huge milestone for that individual. Especially since when you think about it, you start from a particularly young age up until you're about 17, 18 years old, and only about, I would say, 5% of people that play a high school sport actually get to go on to play college, which is a very low number considering all the colleges that are out there. Main reason being is because a lot of times they don't get a whole lot of money to do what they need to do. There's sometimes colleges give scholarships and they give different benefits for individuals, but oftentimes a whole lot of people don't get a lot of money, except for the very lucky few, the 0.01% that actually do get full ride scholarships. But we're not talking about them today. We're talking about the average college player that doesn't hardly get any money from the college. And in my opinion, I feel like college athletes should get paid to go to college to play their respective sports. Mostly for the 3 reasons on my poster here. I got the time that it takes to put in to get better at their sport, the academics that they have to withhold in order to even be on the team, and the travel that you have to do in order to go play these sports and these teams across the nation. So first, I got time. I myself have played for a college team. I went to Martin Methodist University, and my first year there was an interesting experience. We started out our mornings with a 6 in the morning workout, and that usually lasted 1.5 hours. And then immediately we go away. Okay. Sorry about that. One of my players was being retarded. I'm sorry. So most of my mornings I usually worked out for about an hour, usually every day. So you got to get up super early in the morning, and if you had an 8 a.m. class, you usually had a 5 in the morning workout, which was terrible. And then you have to go to your classes, which normally a normal college schedule is about 15, 16, 17 hours, and you have to be able to do well in those classes and participate in the morning and afternoon workouts / practice. Now, normally practice lasts about 3 hours a day, and it usually goes into the night. If you miss morning workouts, you have to do a thing called a reminder to make sure you don't miss it again, which was worse than the workout you did in the morning, which is terrible. So, right now, in order for you to get good at a sport that you play, you have to not only practice in your individual time, you have to actually practice outside of what your team is doing. So not only do you have the morning workout, the practice, the afternoon workout, you have your individual time that you take in order to improve yourself. So that's about, on average, a good 6 to 7 hours a day doing one thing. Now, most jobs are about 9 to 5 with way less physical activity. Most jobs are, you sit behind a desk, you don't really do much besides maybe working on Microsoft Word and all that stuff. So, in my opinion, the athletes have to put 2 times the amount of work in and still get nothing out of it, except for maybe 30% of their tuition, or 40%, which isn't all that much, considering that most schools have about $25,000 to $30,000 worth of tuition. So, after that, we go to academics. Most teams require that you have to keep a certain GPA in order to be on the team. If you fail a class, you are not allowed to play in the upcoming semester. So at my school, we played both fall and spring games. So if you failed a class in the fall, you couldn't play in the spring. If you failed in the spring, you couldn't play in the fall at all. You could practice, you couldn't play. These are rules set up not only by the school, but also the division that you decide to play at. Most of the time, you have to play with a GPA of around 2 to 2.5 is you can still play. You drop below that, the school can suspend you until you get your GPA higher, but most of the time you should strive for around a 3.0 GPA just to be safe. But yes, if you do fail a class, you automatically are not allowed to play. Also, students that go to school just for their academics have to keep a standard of GPA just like everyone else, but theirs is typically lower than the athletes just because they purely focus on academics alone. Athletes have to go through all their practice time, all their class time, their individual workout, and they still have to find time to study in between for their classes. So not only are they putting in work on the prospective field, they're also putting in work in the classroom just in order to be able to play their sport. So if you're a really good athlete but not the greatest in the classroom, you might not always get to play just because academics normally come first. That's why you are a student athlete. Next, we have the travel time for athletes. Most of people's games are not typically at your home field. They are typically away. So a lot of times people normally take buses, but if your school has an inconvenience where your bus can't go, so you have to actually drive your own car to these games, which is not paid for by the school at this time. It's your responsibility in order to get to the field if there's not a bus. So that right there is gas. You have to have a car. If you don't have a lot of people don't even bring cars to college, so you have to shack up with your teammates in the car, which is an inconvenience to them. And overall, it's just not a very pleasant thing to do. So in my opinion, these are the reasons why athletes should get paid to go to college, because not only do they put all the major time in just to be a good athlete, they have to also have really good academics in order to even be on the team itself. And they have to also travel all across the nation, which is time that's not spent in the classroom, because if you have games at 1 o'clock, you normally leave around 8 a.m. in the morning, which means you miss all your classes that day, and which means you have to spend extra time in the classroom just in order to catch back up to your grades. So this is a major inconvenience for athletes, which means they should be able to get the support that they need, and in order to be successful not only as a student and as an athlete. That is all for my speech. I hope you enjoyed it.